All right. First of all, excited to be in game week and obviously excited to play on Saturday and compete against Hawaii. And we continue to hold Maui and the state of Hawaii in our hearts, and obviously look forward to the chance to welcome them to Nashville and to compete in a game that we all celebrate. And we know how important this game is to that state and to the Hawaii football team, and so we'll celebrate the opportunity on Saturday. Wanted to open just with some injury updates. That way, I'm sure there will be questions that we kind of get that out of the way. Out for the season currently, Cole Spence. Out until late season, maybe in October, Jake Ketchick. Out indefinitely, Arrington Truesdell, Steven Sanianola. And then week to week for us will be Darren Agu, Prince Colley, Ezra McAllister, Jeff Ugo, and Christian James. Everyone else we expect to be available to play, and if there are any other questions specifically, happy to answer those now.
So, do you know of Augustus' status for Hawaii yet?
He'll be out this week. He hasn't been able to get back to practice yet. And so we'll, we're giving him every opportunity and want to hold off judgment. But, at this point, I think he's been out for an extended period of time. He's going to need time to work himself back. So as soon as that elbow responds, we'll get him back into activity. And, it should be a quick process once he's back out there practicing.
Is Davis, is that related to his long-term recovery?
It is, yeah. He's just dealing with some prolonged, remnants from the injury, and he's pushed hard through fall camp and just needs some time and space here to let it calm down a little bit, and obviously he's out there working with us. I saw him out sweating today and getting after it. Just we have to be conscious of where that knee is and what he needs to be healthy.
Coach, is the heat, is it bothering you guys much? Have you thought about doing anything a little different, or what have you done different stuff with the heat being up in the triple digits?
Yeah, we're obviously aware of it, and our plan this week is to do some work in it. I think that's important to acclimate. Obviously, by the time Saturday night comes, I don't think we'll see triple digits, but it'll be hot, and it'll be something that we'll have had to have prepared for and be able to attack. We want that heat to be an advantage, and that means you need to work in it. But we're also conscious of the fact that it all pulls from the same place, and we want to train with great tempo and effort. And so we're kind of splitting time right now between the indoor and our practice fields to get both the heat exposure, but also make sure that we're not burning in a negative way, burning our energy system, so we won't be ready on Saturday. We'll continue that. I think once we get 48 hours ahead of time, we'll try to limit some of our exposure, and at that point, we've done enough work in the in the heat this camp, I think, to feel good about where we are.
What are your biggest questions about what you have going into the opener?
Well, I think we know more about what we have this camp and this season than we have in the past. I think that's because we've played good on good, and our top line, really our top couple of lines have established a lot of quality play in all three phases, and so we do know more about who we are and where we need to continue to improve. But obviously, we're going to be looking to the corner position to have a great start and to really establish a rhythm there in terms of rotational roles, and to see the starters out playing with confidence and making plays for us. I think we have a lot of talented receivers, and so it's going to be a matter of how we utilize all of them, how we spread the ball around. But obviously there's only one ball, and if you're in 11 personnel, there are only 3 guys out in the field, and so how we split the snaps up to make sure that we're putting our best 11 on the field and having a great chance to succeed on offense. Those are two positions, obviously the running back spot too, and I feel really good about where we are with that. I think we have, first of all, and I've said this before, but we return an offensive line that blocked for a 1,000-yard rusher in our conference. I think that's a great starting point. And with Patrick Smith and Chase Gillespie, we return 2 guys that have experience for us on the field and have shown the ability to make the play when the ball's in their hands. We add to that some talented freshmen, and Seti Alexander right now will be kind of the first out of those guys, and we keep bringing AJ Newberry along. Both of those guys will have a chance to have an impact this season. Diego Benson continues to develop and grow too. But that would be the one on paper where maybe there's the most glaring hole, because we lost the starter from a year ago, but feel good about how we've developed in that depth through camp.
How do you see the tight end room this year? Obviously, when you have a big loss, or we lost last year, how do you see them improving?
Yeah, obviously I wish that Cole Spence was with us. I think Cole, he's worked really hard, and obviously we knew coming into camp that he wasn't going to be with us, or I shouldn't say it that way even, because he's been with us, and he's actually, it's incredible, it's remarkable what he's doing to carve a role out for himself in this program, even when he's not able to play on the field. But we feel really good about obviously Justin Ball and what he's grown into. Logan Kyle's a guy that's ascended for us that we have. I'm excited to watch Logan play. I think he has the skills to really create matchup issues. He's got receiver speed and receiver skills, and he's built out a 235-pound frame and has proven his toughness in camp. And from there you're talking about guys that have opportunities. Chris being one as a transfer into the program that has proven to be consistent and steady in his execution, and then Cam Johnson, another who really has flashed through camp. And so I think there's a room there that is going to put us ahead of where we've been in that position. Obviously, we lose a lot of experience there, and so you have to be patient with the young players as they kind of get the experience under their belt. I don't see us venturing too far from 11 personnel in the early going here, but we also recognize the fact that we have a really talented receiver room that we feel really good about. And so as the year goes on and as that position evolves, the tight end position, we know we have the chance to put 4 receivers on the field too, and spread it out a little bit, and we'll feel comfortable doing that as well.
With Agu out this week, where are you going to go at defensive end, and what kind of experience does it give maybe Issa or Linus to get in there?
Yeah, both of those guys have had really good falls. Issa has been playing out on the edge for us since Darren went down, and has really impressed. And I think with his frame and his size, it can create issues there. Linus obviously has earned the chance to be out there. Again, you talk about Nate Clifton, who is now a captain in this program and has really solidified himself as a leader and a just consistent process and day in, day out mindset. And so we love it when Darren's out there. It's clear that he makes a difference for us. We'll look forward to him being back, but in the meantime, we're not concerned about where that position is. We'll be excited when we have our full allotment of players there, but we feel good about that end spot.
As a coach, how do you prevent your team from being complacent or anything like that when you're opening against a team that you beat 63-10 last year?
Yeah, listen, the message here publicly is no different than the message internally. We're a team that cannot take anything for granted, and the one thing that we've harped on in here is we made great progress from year 1 to year 2 here. This Hawaii team will too. I've got a ton of respect for Timmy Chang. I got a ton of respect for the Hawaii football program. These guys are tough. They're prideful. They're not too far removed from a 10-win season. We've looked at plays from our game last year, and if you look at the first 11 minutes of that game last year, we were asleep, and they were winning, and they were dominating play on both sides of the ball. And we woke up there right at the end of the first quarter, but we can't afford to do that. We can't take anything for granted. We have to be ready to play. We're going to have to be focused, and we're going to have to finish. And if we don't, this Hawaii team has everything they need to make it a long afternoon and evening for us, and we know that. So there is no complacency here. That's the message. That's our attitude towards everyone we play, but certainly we've got a ton of respect for this team, and no different than, we want room for our team and our program to grow year in, year out. 2023 is a totally different experience than 2022, and we're going to learn a lot about where we are on Saturday, and there's going to be some of that we like and some of that we have to improve, and that's true any opener. But I feel like in college in particular, there's the element of the unknown where, we're going to have to adjust and move, and they're going to be ready. So we're excited for it, and I know the guys are ready to go compete and play against someone else. We also know that we'll have our work cut out for us too.
With the way that Hawaii is coached and the way they're constructed, they're obviously going to throw it a lot. So how valuable is it for your corners early in the season to get tested like they will on Saturday?
Well, it's going to tell us a lot about where we are, and it's going to tell us a lot about what we need to develop, and that could be both in terms of our call sheet, but also the skills within each player. But I think we've competed against that every day this camp, and so I can't emphasize that enough, that I feel like we know way more about our play on the perimeter just because our offense has gotten good on the perimeter and they've attacked us on the perimeter. And that wasn't as much our design a year ago on offense, but this fall they've really done a nice job, and so that will help us get to a launch point in this first game. And I don't want our corners or anyone in the secondary to do anything other than what they've done in preparation and in training. But certainly we'll learn something about where we are and where we need to improve coming out of the game on Saturday.
Hawaii's roster was a bit of a mess a year ago coming into this one, to portal defections and additions and everything. Hard to know what you were even looking at, schemes, all that. Compare preparing for them this year with last year.
There's a little more known. They've made the transition to a run and shoot attack. You kind of started to see that show up towards the end of the season last year. They're doing it out of 11 personnel. They have good tight ends. The running back is good, and they're going to be able to move the ball on the ground too. But obviously we expect to see a passing attack that's weaponized, and that's they're going to put the ball in the air. And there's certain elements in game one that we're going to be able to pull and prepare from what we saw a year ago. You can pull from the past where that offense was fully installed and going, but there's certainly going to be an element of we have to pay attention to how they're attacking us. We have to pay attention to the plays that are giving us problems, and we have to problem solve on the sideline, and that takes again focus from the players, focus from the staff, really clear communication lines, because winning on Saturday comes down to the ability to anticipate and execute. And if we're not paying attention, they have a chance to force us in a game where we're chasing the ball around the field. And we've all known from the past experiences here that's not a good recipe. And then, as far as their defense goes, they're going to be aggressive and physical, and they're going to try to get up on you, and we have to be able to win one-on-ones on the perimeter. We have to create space for ourselves. We have to establish our run game. That's important, and they're going to make that tough. But we're probably a little ahead of where we were last year in terms of what to expect. But I think there's always this element in college football where you just don't know because you haven't seen them yet.
What went into making Richie Hoskins, second on the depth chart here?
Well, Richie, has impressed us since he arrived, honestly, and he's been a consistent leader for us. He's been a playmaker for us. He's got really good hands. He's smart. He's physical, tough, and so he's earned it. There's no secret formula to being a good player. I mean, he's checked those boxes, and so it'll be exciting to watch him out there and get him a chance to go out and catch some balls.
So Walter Taylor is listed third. Would he be, if a third quarterback came in the game, would it be him?
Well, the two guys that are still, and there's an or there between Walt and Drew, and I think what we've seen through camp is, this is kind of like, obviously both Walt and Drew are very talented players, and what we've lacked a little bit is consistency, and that's normal for young players that are still learning. I think that obviously we know that Ken's the next one in. He's earned that, and we feel really good about that. And from there, it comes down to what's the situation and what are the skills required to execute the offensive plan as it's evolved through the game. And so, not to circle the question, but the answer to that, Robbie, is we'll make that decision heading into the game, and certainly in the moment, based off where we feel like we are and what we feel like we need to see. So they're still competing, I guess, to answer.
Your or at kicker, is that they're still competing, or is that like you might use one in a long field goal and one for short field goals?
No, we're gonna let them go at it this week. I mean, we've seen enough in terms of from both guys to say, we feel good about them, but we wanna give them chances this week to show that last level of preparation that gives both them and the team confidence when they go out there to win a game for us. We want to make sure that we've seen that one through, and we did that some today at the end of practice. We'll do it again tomorrow, and then we'll hone in on a kicker for Saturday after tomorrow. I don't think that I think the formula needs to be, there's a guy that knows he's ready, he's going to be called upon, he can prepare mentally for that, and that is important, because that's the one position where you're not actively in the game until you're needed in a big moment to score points, and I think that requires a lot of mental staying ready mentally, understanding the situations, preparing for the kick, and those are things that we can't push onto someone in the moment. So we'll have someone ready. We're going to give it another day before we make that determination.
How have you seen Brad Ashmore's play kind of improve since he's recovered from the injury? And talk about what he means to the locker room.
Yeah, Brad, he's obviously been voted a captain in this program, and I think if you would have, he's always had great engagement. He's one of the guys that'll challenge. He'll ask why we're doing. He wants to know why, so that he can give his full heart and energy into what it is that we're asking him to do. And when he gives his full heart into something, you get all of Brad. And I've always appreciated that about him. I think what I've seen from him this year is just that growth and maturity that happens. When you talk about a guy who's started a bunch of games and who's been around for a while, and so he has become a consistent and steady presence, a leadership in the O-line room for the offense, a respected voice on the team. He's not afraid to speak up, drive player-to-player accountability, and on the field, just continued to see him ascend. I think playing him inside obviously it helps bring to the surface some of his his skills. That he's a really talented player, and he was forced into action early in his career, probably physically wasn't ready, but now he's had time to develop his frame, and I'm seeing a more physical, athletic player out there, and he's smart. So in the huddle on the field, he's a really consistent presence, and will be a guy that in our moments of adversity on Saturday, I expect to hear Brad's voice, and I expect him to help lead the charge.
With it being week 0 and obviously just a lot of questions, what are you most curious to see generally on Saturday?
Well, I'm excited. I think my excitement is both. These guys have earned the right to play. One of the things that I've enjoyed, there's a clear line. When we drew that line of the end of camp and the start of execution cycle, start of game prep, I could just sense the energy lift. These guys are ready to do it, and they've earned the right to do it. For me, as a coach, I spend the better part of the year, so 8 months, preparing for this cycle where we have 12 mountains to climb on the schedule, and we're fighting for more after that. So I know that we're going to be tested on Saturday. I know that it's going to be imperfect. I know that there are going to be moments where we're going to feel like our backs are against the wall, and we spend so much time training for those moments. I'm excited to watch the team respond to that adversity. I'm excited to see that from them. And I believe that good teams are defined, not by how they, perform when things are going well, but what is the level of belief they have when things aren't going well. And so it'll be really interesting to watch this team, go through the full cycle of emotions that game day brings. And I'll be excited to be not watching, but be right there with them and supporting them through it.
Do you have any game day rituals that you stick by?
I don't. I really don't. I think I've got a reputation maybe of not being the most exciting guy, but I will definitely have a strong cup of coffee in the afternoon. That's a little abnormal for me. There was a moment where I was eating the same thing. I do my best to not apply any superstitious behavior because I'm smart enough to know that doesn't matter, But I'll be anxious. I'll be excited. I'll be nervous in a good way. And once the ball goes up, it's just about me being zoned in on my role and making sure that I'm delivering what the team needs from me to make sure we play our best on Saturday.
Is that nervousness? Is that like when you were a player, also butterflies and thing?
Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different just because I think with experience, I'm worrying about different things, or that nervousness is kind of focused on different things. But I think as a player, you're thinking about your play, your role, your block, the things that you need to do. My nerves will be about excitement to see those guys go out and have success. And again, that anticipation of those moments where I'm needed both to interject my spirit energy, my emotion to help the sideline, or to pull up in support when things aren't going the way we want them to go, And it's just like anything. I want to be really good for this team. I want to be really good for this staff. I want to be really good for these players. They've all invested so much, and so we don't get many of these chances, and you want to make sure that you're ready no matter what your role is. And that's kind of where those nerves come from. If I didn't care, right, then I wouldn't have them. But because I care, they're there, and we embrace that. All of us do.
Anything else?
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, thanks, guys.